Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Bill Jordan here, another edition of Art with Bill. If you're a sculptor, a painter, or a candlestick maker, this is the place you need to be. Why? Because people buy from people they know. And we believe that telling is selling. That means you have to tell your story to get it out there. And today we have a very interesting story with a lady who's done a lot of work at the Newark Museum, Elsa Nazario. How you doing, Elsa? How's everything today?
Oh, good. Thank you. And you?
I'm doing great. So, tell us, you've done a lot of work at the Newark Museum. Is that right?
Yes. What happened was back in 2011, I went to see a Martin Luther King program at the New York Museum. And while I was in the audience, saw a lady do a presentation on him. And I asked my husband if I could volunteer for the museum, and he didn't see any problem in that. So that very same day, I turned around and I found the person in charge of the volunteers. She took me upstairs, we interviewed, and then she gave me a form. 2 days later, I get a call from them, and I interviewed with the same exact lady that I wanted to volunteer for, she was Linda Nettleton. So I volunteered for her until the day she retired. And I'm still there volunteering.
Oh, great. So now do me a favor, just can you get a little closer to your microphone?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Much better, because you were sort of like in another room or something, but now you're better. So now you've been at the Newark Museum since 2011, right?
Yes.
Well, tell us, what is it like working there? I mean, like the people come in, the people go out, the art comes in, the art goes out. I mean, you see it all. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so what happens is that before an actual exhibit gets presented there, before anyone sees the first painting or whatever they're having, we have to make sure that we set up information mailings that go out to different groups for them to know that this is being shown. So a lot of the things I did for Linda was that I created databases for different groups. Like, let's say we were having Africa Cosmos. When we had that exhibit, I actually went into the internet and looked up all the different people that would be interested in coming to our museum, and I created that database so we could send out a mailing. The same thing is true when we did Norman Rockwell. When we did his exhibit, I turned around and I found all the people in the area that would be interested in the American art that Norman Rockwell produced.
How did you find these people? I mean, you go on the internet, there's a list of things. I like Norman Rockwell. How did you go about that?
No, what I would do is, let's say I would go in and I would look at all the different colleges in the area that had history departments, art history departments. I would call those departments, get in contact with who was the department chairman, who were the professors in that field, turned around, got their names, sent out the information. And then some of the secretaries were very nice that when they knew what we were trying to do, they would turn around and e-blast all this information to their professors. The same thing with art galleries in the area who liked the work. I would look up to see what gallery I thought that we could send the mailing to. So it takes a lot of work.
You're like a one-woman publishing house there.
Yeah, in fact, it's weird because from day one, when I started volunteering there, I actually, for my own purposes, I went out and I bought these books and I created anything that I did. And we're talking about years here of research that I have done. So it's not a one-time deal. Because
what do you mean by research? What are you talking about?
Okay, what I mean by research is, let's say we're going to have an exhibit on Norman Rockwell. What I would turn around and I go to the library and I get books on Norman Rockwell, read about his life, see how his life was projected in some of his art, well, all of his art really. And then the people that influence him, and get in contact with people who might be interested in him. So that's
okay, so in other words, by learning about Norman Rockwell helps you bring people into the museum by contacting them.
Yes. The same thing that when we had Ramir Burton, when we had his exhibition, I got in contact with all the area of people that would be interested in his art. So again, I drew a list of all the African societies in the area, the colleges with their different fraternities and sororities, contacted them, actually spoke to them, told them what was going on, got them interested, and then they got the mailings, and then people showed up.
Wow, and that's what a volunteer does?
Well, let me put it this way. I'm an extraordinary volunteer, and I say that with honor because I love what I do. And we had African Cosmos. African Cosmos, I got in touch with a lot of astronomers in the area. I researched them, sent the information.
Wait, hold on for a second. What's African Cosmos? What's that?
Yes. We had an exhibit a couple years ago, African Cosmos, and it was how in Africa the different groups of tribes, they would use the stars for their planning of their crops, for the seasonal occurrence of what happened in the skies. And these people were very knowledgeable in this, having this information to pass on to future generations.
Well,
so,
is that anything to do with the Dogon?
Say that again?
The Dogon, you know, the Dogon tribe?
I don't know that one.
Okay, but they're a tribe in Africa that has a very strong knowledge of cosmic knowledge.
Okay, because
anyway,
I do.
Getting back to your story, so you had the African Cosmos. Go ahead.
Okay, we had, needless to say, one of my favorite was Norman Rockwell.
Yes.
What happened with him was we had lectures. The docents, the curators from the Rockwell Museum came to our museum and gave presentations on that.
Where's his museum located?
Stockbridge. I'm thinking off the top of my head. Stockbridge, and right now. Oh, wow. I've been there. That's what gets me.
Was it Stockbridge, New Jersey, New York? Stockbridge?
Oh, no. Was it Massachusetts? I think it's Massachusetts.
Okay. All right.
I would have to look it up. What happened was one summer, my sister-in-law was working for Kimberly Clark, and she got to stay there, and we went and picked her up. So we stayed at the hotel on the corner, the Red Lion Inn. And then it just happens that a couple of houses down was Norman Rockwell's, the museum that was the house.
Oh, okay.
Not the museum that was built afterwards, because I'm going back some years.
Right.
So I actually saw his paintings in the house that he had on exhibition there. A lot of famous paintings were done with those scenes from Stockbridge.
Now, the Rockwell exhibition, that was what, 3 years ago?
I could look at my notes, but it was a few years ago. I mean, I have it written down, but off of the top of my head, it was a few years ago.
Right. Now, not to lose traction on the New York Museum, but I see here in our cover picture you have Friends of the Union Public Library. What's that about?
Now, what happens is I'm the treasurer for the Friends of the Union Public Library, and we're going to be in existence this August for the 3rd year. And the reason why I wanted to put that picture up is because with the Friends of the Union Public Library, what we do is we do fundraisers. We get in contact with people. They donate money to us. For example, when Marshall's opened up, they gave our organization $5,000, and I was there to receive the check because I'm the treasurer.
Okay.
Now, what we do with the money is the important thing. What we, one of our programs is that we buy about 8 museum passes a year, and the patrons are able to go to the library, get these passes for free, and they can bring, depending on the museum, X amount of people can go because they vary. But we have passes to, let's say, the Intrepid in New York.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's a biggie. That one comes and goes so quickly that you have to get there early and get the pass. And it is expensive because we pay, I think, about $500, give or take, in that range. We have the Grounds for Sculpture in Hamilton, New Jersey. Now, that's a must-see because
let's talk about that. Where's that again now?
Hamilton, New Jersey.
And what's down there?
Okay, what it is this is an interesting story because it's grounds where actual pictures have been created to represent those pictures. And let me backtrack a little bit. One of the founders, or no, one of the inheritors of the Johnson people, he's the one that set up this place, and he actually helped create a lot of these sculptures that you see.
Oh,
So
really?
and it's really interesting because to see actual creation of let's say a Monet, or let's say when you go into their website, you see pictures, but then when you see these live sculptures of representation of these pictures is something else.
Wow, it's really like you have my mind salivating to see the pictures, and we don't have pictures. I gotta get some pictures.
No, but it's interesting because while I was there, I did take quite a few pictures.
Yeah.
The only thing is, it was on my cell phone, and I have to go through all my pictures in order to get them onto a file so you can see them. But not for anything, but if you go in and you look under Grounds for Sculptures,
Okay.
in Hamilton,
So we'll benchmark that. Grounds for Sculpture. So let's go back to the New York Museum now. How often the New York Museum is open from what day to what day?
Okay, it is closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. So the museum is open from Wednesday to Sunday from 12 to 5.
Okay. Now, what the current exhibition is there now?
Well, the one that we had just finished on January 8th. So right now they're in transition for a new exhibit. So what we have are the permanent exhibits right now.
Yes.
And also what's happening is that the New York Museum will be opening up their front doors on Washington Street. They're going to start the groundbreaking rebuilding of certain areas so you can have handicap accessing, and the front door is going to be open again.
Well, now that's a big deal because right now you can't get to the front door.
Right. You have to go all the way around to the other side. You have to go around and go in through that entrance. But once they open up those front doors, you'll be able to come up the front door, but they also had to create a way for handicap access, which is going to take a lot of rebuilding because they have to take the Mediterranean exhibit that's there. They're going to make it into a check room and access.
Okay.
And they also have to build in the Engelhardt Court. That's a big area in the museum, the court on the first floor. They're going to make like a mini elevator type of thing, so people who are in wheelchairs will be able to.
Right. That's good. Now let's get back into the museum itself. Now there's the standing exhibitions, then you have the traveling exhibitions. What else is going on in the museum in terms of, like, if I'm a guy in Newark, say I'm an artist in Newark, how can I benefit from Newark Museum? What can it do for me?
Okay. The first thing is you're very fortunate if you're a New York resident. And what I mean by that is if you're a New York resident and you come to our museum and you have proof that you're a New York resident, you get them for free.
Yes.
So that means that you can come in, if you're an artist and there's certain artwork that you want to look at, you have free access to all this artwork, which is a mess.
Yes, yes.
And then also sometimes they have different participations of artists. They come in, they do their speaking engagements, they talk about their art. So that in itself would be beneficial to you.
Okay. All right. So now we've talked a little bit about the groundwork, the foundation, but I know you're an extensive traveler. You've traveled a lot. Let's look at some of these images. Now, this is an image. This is in the museum, New York Museum.
Yes, and in fact, what that is, and it was the doors to it's BHITI Temple, and what that means is that the Betuti, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. It was given to the religion practice by two groups in Gabon.
Okay.
And, yeah. So then what happens is that this is part of the western coast of Africa. It's Gabon itself is near the Republic of the Congo and Cameroon.
Yes.
So, and these two religions that one of them is more prominent than the other, but this is what you're looking at.
And what does this signify? What's the meaning behind this?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't know.
Okay.
No, I would have to do some more research on that. I just happened to pick it out of the images that they had on their website because I thought it was so African in its design. And
yes, it has that flavor to it. All right, let's move on to another one. What about these are shoes, boots?
Yeah, that's the African, that's the American Indian exhibit. In fact, we just opened a new exhibit about, Native American art. And what it entails is they took a lot of pieces that were like in little corners of the museum, and they opened up this section where you can actually see how they changed the layout and they updated it, made it more modern. And so you're able to see these pieces completely in a different light because of the way that they're being presented.
Okay, and this is part of the Native American exhibition?
Yes. In fact, that just opened this past summer. They used to have, of course, on the second floor, the Native American exhibition, but now it's on the first floor, and you can see how they reconstructed the area, and they're actually featuring things that you've seen before, but they're much nicer now.
All right. This is the Newark Museum from the Washington Street side. This is the Ballantyne.
Yes, it's the Ballantyne House. And the reason why it's named the Ballantyne House is because it was the Ballantyne House. What happened was
Now wait, hold on. These are the Ballantyne of the beer Ballantyne, right?
The beer barons, yeah. What happened was that Mr. Ballantyne and Mrs. Ballantyne owned this house, and when you look at the furnishings inside, they were the actual furnishings that these people had at the time. And we have to keep this in perspective that they had this house until a certain time, and then they decided to build a bigger house, but out, further out. I don't know, Far Hills or out that way.
Right.
So these are the remnants of what they had because they actually built a bigger home, but this stayed, and this is a gem in itself.
Yes.
Have you been?
I've been inside. It's quite remarkable. We have some, I think we have one or two images that we'll see later on.
Okay. But a lot of people don't realize that this is the Valentine people, because what happened was, you have to picture this location back in the late 1800s. And you see in front of it, there's Washington Park. It was a nice park there. And then there was the rich barons of the area used to live in this section of town.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's why that house is there.
So this is like the real history here.
Yes, yes.
Now this is inside, right, the museum, right?
Yes. Now this is specifically very interesting because it's a Tiffany window.
Yes, right.
Yeah. So when you look at, from my past experiences, like I've been numerous times to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and when I say numerous, I mean a lot of times. When you get to see the Tiffany glasses, the different Tiffany glass that was made, when you go to the Valentine house and you see this beautiful window, and you go, oh my God, and then you realize it's Tiffany.
Yeah, this is inside the Valentine house, right?
Yes. As you're coming up the stairs, when you're coming up the stairs from the first floor, you come around, you see the staircase, you go up the stairs, and there is the Tiffany windows. Now, I know at one time they had Mr. Valentine on one side of the staircase and Mrs. Valentine on the other. But I have to see if it's being touched up or whatever. I haven't been there since about last summer, so I have to go by there and see it again.
So now, Elsa, the wallpaper they have on the walls, that's the original type wallpaper. Was that restored, or is, you know?
I don't know if it was. I know what you're asking me, but I really don't know if it was restored or if it's original. I lost your voice a little bit.
I said, you know, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that. Can you hear me now?
Not as well.
Can you hear me now?
A little bit.
Oh, better? Keep on talking. I got you. Go ahead.
Okay, you have me. All right. I'll listen more carefully.
Yeah, the question I just asked is, has it been restored, or it's the original wallpaper? And I'm kind of thinking it's been restored because the original wouldn't be so brilliant, so vibrant.
Yeah, you're probably right, because like you said, if it was original, it'd probably be faded, because a lot of things fade when it's subject to light. So that could be a possibility.
This is a very beautiful room. I like the color contrast, the blue against the red on the walls. Beautiful.
Yes.
Now, this is in the museum as well?
I'm sorry.
This piece is in the museum? Hello?
I need you to speak up.
I'm speaking up.
Okay, it must be your microphone that is not working.
Well, it hasn't changed. I haven't done anything.
Okay, well, it's going in and out. Okay, so then, yes, this piece is in the museum. In fact, it's in the area that they're going to convert to the new area where they're going to hang their coats. So they're going to be moving some of the exhibitions from there to another location. Now, the reason why I thought this was beautiful is because when I went to Egypt, I went to the Cairo Museum.
Mm-hmm.
I was at the Cairo Museum before the problems happened in Cairo.
Yes.
I was able to see a lot of sarcophagus, and I'm very bad in pronunciation on some words.
Sarcophagus.
Sarcophagus. So as a result of looking at a lot of them at the Cairo Museum, I came back and I studied this one in a different light.
And what did you discover? What did you learn?
I discovered that a lot of information was actually put onto them, and it told you about their history, who the person was, and of course, you would have to know how to read hieroglyphics in order to understand all this. And that was one of the most important things to me, was that many years ago, I went to the British Museum. And when I was at the British Museum, I actually saw the Rosetta Stone.
Oh, okay.
So seeing the Rosetta Stone and seeing how they were able to figure out, because of the 3 different languages they had, they were able to figure out what hieroglyphics meant.
Mm-hmm.
Great discovery.
Nice piece. And what's the name of this piece? Do you know?
Yes, it's one moment. Okay, I have it here. Just give me a second. Okay, here it is. It's Henet and then Mer. That's her name.
Okay. Well, let's move on to another. Now, here you are. Now, this is where you are in Egypt with the real hieroglyphs on some image, right?
Yes. In fact, when I took this picture, because when you look at it, you can see the different symbols of what was used in hieroglyphics. But the beauty of this is that I had seen it on walls painted. Then I turned around and I saw it here, and it had a different effect on me, because you see it in color, in different colors.
Yes.
When you see it this way, it's like it brings it to you.
This is a larger scale as well.
Yes. As you can see, the different symbols here.
Yeah.
I don't know how to read hieroglyphics, but someone who does, they would be able to interpret all this.
Right. So it's a real deal. It's like up in your face.
I'm trying to make it understand what you're saying.
It's the real deal. It's up in your face.
Yes, yes. And on top of that, I was going to say that when I went to the Valley of the Kings and Queens, and I went into some of the tombs, and you actually looked at all the paintings that they had on the wall, and you had a guide tell you some interpretations of how they dealt with death, going the afterlife.
Yes.
And actually took a journey to the afterlife. And so that made it even more important to me.
And where are you now? Where are you now in this?
Yes. We had gone to, I'm trying to remember, because we did go to Luxor. And I think this was in Luxor, but I'm a little hesitant because I'm trying to remember. We went to Karnak, but Karnak, I believe, was during the day. And this is evening. So I think this is Luxor. But I would have to check.
Now, this is just like a big space, and is this inside? What is it inside a pyramid?
What happens is you walk around and you see the actual temples, and from the other pictures, you actually see different displays that they have. And what makes it unique is that you actually see a lot of the figures, the representation of what people looked like back then.
Oh, I see. Okay. And this is one of them.
Yes.
Oh, there's a representation of you.
Yes. What happened was, I love this picture for one main reason. I went to the Valley of the Kings and the Queens. And when we went to the Valley of the Kings and Queens, we got onto this little tram that took us to the certain area. And as I was here, we went past and we saw the house where Carter he was the one that found a lot of this stuff way back when.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So that's why I love it, because then this one is our God. You see the gentleman pointing up?
Yes, yes.
Hassan. And Hassan was our tour guide all through Egypt, because we did a cruise down the Nile.
Oh, okay.
Egyptologist,
Yes.
studied in Cairo. He knew his art, and we had him with us the whole time we went down the Nile.
Mm.
So he was able to interpret a lot of the things for us. And you see the back of the heads of my best friends.
Yes, yes, yes.
But I'm the one that's smiling because my husband's taking the picture.
Oh, okay. All right. You get the benefit. Here you are in front of the Sphinx.
Yes, what happened was we went to Giza. And when we went to Giza, we got to see the pyramids and we got to see the Sphinx. Well, the interesting story here is that when we took the bus tour, because of the dangers that were apparent in Cairo and that area,
Yeah.
our guards, we had a guard with an Uzi on the bus with us at all times. And when we went down the Nile,
Well, how did that make you feel?
it made me feel like, should I be here? And especially when we, like, let's say when we went through some locks and we saw above, we saw guards with Uzis.
Yeah.
And should I be here? Thank God that nothing happened to us.
And what year was that?
That was, let me see, Egypt. Wait a minute. Where is it? Okay, here it is. All right. I went March of 2009.
Oh, okay. Right. Okay. And then, and where's this picture taken from?
Oh, yes. This is a very famous temple. It's the temple of Hatshepsut.
Oh,
Now,
really?
yeah. What happened was, she was the female pharaoh that decided to dress as a man.
Yes. Yes.
And then the beauty of it, it goes to show you how sometimes, I'm not saying this to be facetious or anything, sometimes they try to put women down. So what happened with her is they didn't like her, so they decided to abbreviate her from all history, throw all her stuff and bury it so nobody would remember. But to her luck, many years later, they found it, they dug it up, and she's the best preserved.
Right. She's accredited also with pioneering the obelisk.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
She's also accredited with pioneering the development of the obelisk.
Oh, okay. I was very fortunate because I went to Aswan. And in Aswan, they took us to where they actually carved out the obelisk. And they had one there that was unfinished. So you saw how they carved and they made the obelisk. So I was able to see that. I know that when I was in London, they have one over there.
Right. Well, she's accredited with pioneering that. And what's this picture about here?
Yes, we had, now this is interesting because this particular picture, let me just get this for you because it's worth mentioning. Wait a minute.
This was an exhibit at the New York Museum, correct? So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, while she's getting that together, just remember that this
Okay,
whole,
here it is. I'm not trying to be rude, but I can't hear what you're asking me.
so this is part of this was an exhibit from the New York Museum, is that correct?
Yeah, this was an exhibit. It was called Royal and Regalia Inside the Palaces of Nigerian Monarchs. And what happened was that we had this person, and he's an artist because he actually took pictures. He went around to the different villages and took pictures of the princesses and the kings, the queens, the kings, and some princesses. Now, he was able to come to our museum and actually have an exhibition, and
Oh,
paintings are extraordinary. I don't know if you got to see the exhibit or not.
no. When was that exhibit?
So then what happened was that in the exhibit, they had these vivid colors of the palaces, of the people, and the gentleman that you see there in the picture with the big canopy over him,
Yes.
he is the Royal Majesty Benjamin, and then Ichuku. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. It's Ikenchku, and his last name is Keagborkuzi. So
You got me there too. I'm not sure.
when you look at the picture, the one to the, when you're looking at the picture to the left, you see the previous king, which was his father.
Oh,
He was the youngest at that time. He was the youngest king for his kingdom. And then what happened was he grew up, he went to London, to England, to school,
yes.
became a lawyer. Then he came back to his country, and he's been there. Now, two things happened that night. One of them was that the artist, and his name was George, George, Asuku, and okay. And then they were there the night that they had the opening of the exhibit. Because what the New York Museum does is when they have a new exhibit, they have an opening night for all the people who are members.
Okay.
So we get to see slides, presentations, and we're invited to see the work before the public does.
Great.
Museum members.
Yes. All right, let's move on to another one. We're back in Newark now.
Uh-huh.
This is the Ballantyne House.
Ballantyne House, and this was, see, the thing with the Ballantyne House that I love is that during the holidays, they take the space and they make it very decorative with the Christmas ornaments and everything.
Oh, okay.
So many people choose to come to the Ballantyne House during Christmas, like that weekend after Thanksgiving.
Now, are those the flatware? Is that gold?
I don't know. I'm being honest with you. I don't know. But I do know that they have original pieces that they put on display because
and then we have some more of the Tiffany windows in that room.
and then the thing that
Are those Tiffany windows? Are those Tiffany windows?
the hallways, Tiffany. I'm assuming those are two.
Yeah. All right.
I'm sorry, Bill, but I'm having a hard time.
So keep going. Keep going.
Okay. Now, when the renovation takes place for the museum, they're going to be changing things around because on the first floor is usually where you have the changing exhibit, but they decided that they're going to make the first floor permanent collection, and then they're going to be moving visiting exhibits to, I believe, the second floor.
Okay.
So, and the reason why they're doing that is because right now, when these exhibits are in transition, there's like blank space and people are walking into the museum, and it would look more appropriate to have permanent stuff there and then go up to the second floor and look at the changing exhibits.
Now, what are we looking at now? What's this?
Okay, let me see. I'm trying to recall.
Looks like some type of like period.
Must be the American wing.
Okay.
But I can't tell you much about it.
All right, let's go to another one then. Here we have, we're back in the Ballantyne house.
Yes. Now, this here, what happened was that, okay, the Ballantyne house was for many years onto itself. There was no connection between the Ballantyne house that you could walk from the Ballantyne house into the museum. Because when I started going to the museum back in the 50s, it was a separate unit. And that's, at one time, the administration used to be in here. What they did was they built a connection part from the Ballantyne house to the museum so you can access the Ballantyne house through the museum. So this is when you're coming through the connection part that you go into the Ballantyne house, this is what you see. This is like you're connecting to come in.
Okay.
You look at the right side, you see the staircase. Now that's the staircase that I was talking about before, that when you come up that staircase, you see that Tiffany window.
Oh, yes, I got it.
Then what happens is when you're looking at this right here and you go off to the right, the room that's right there, that's the dining room.
Oh.
The big dining room.
So
now,
the dining room is on the second floor?
Huh?
The dining room is on the second floor.
No, this is the first floor of the house.
Okay, and the dining room is to the right.
When you're looking at this picture, the dining room's to the right.
Okay.
You look straight ahead of you. See the door? That's
Yes.
the front door. That's the front door that you saw on the picture to when we were looking at the front of the house.
Right.
So if you're looking from the outside, there's the front door.
Okay. Let's go into another one. What's this?
Yes, the sculptures. Now, what's so amazing about all this is because being that throughout the years I've been to the Met, I've been to Athens, I've been to Rome, I've seen a lot of different artwork. So to come into this space and see some productions of like what you see, you can relate to other objects that you've seen. Now, they must have repainted this section, and I haven't. See, let me explain something real quick. I had a problem with my leg, and I had to leave the museum for a couple of months, quite a few months, because I had surgery.
Oh, okay.
There was a lot of new renovation that was done, and then I just came back. I think April. So. And then I've been limited myself at this point now from going from the other side of the building where I do all my work.
Yes.
Other side, because I can't be walking around like I used to anymore.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So
What happened to you?
Because I know for a fact that a lot of stuff was done while I was out, and I haven't had a chance to go to the other side of the building because.
So what happened to your leg, Elsa?
Yeah, I had a torn meniscus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'm still not able to go like up and down the stairs here. I only do it once a day.
Oh.
Limited on my range now.
All right. New York Museum. And how can people get in contact with the New York Museum? It's newyorkmuseum.org. Is that what it is?
Okay. Let's see here. Okay. All right.
Well, I think it's newyorkmuseum.org,
Yes.
right?
I'm sorry, newyorkmuseum.org. What did you say?
Yeah, it's newyorkmuseum.org.
Yes.
All right, so we're back where we started with your cover page. Any other insights you want to share with us before we sign off?
Well, I just want to say that with the upcoming exhibitions that we're having, anyone who lives in Newark, should make an effort to go into the NewYorkMuseum.org, see the presentations that are going on, and come and see us. In fact, we have 2 big events that are coming up.
Oh, what are they? Tell us that. What are
One
they?
of
What are the big events?
the new one that's coming up now. One moment. Okay, here it is. On Monday, this Monday, January 16th, we're going to have the Dr. Martin Luther King Day. And what that entails is we have the museum open from 12, and they're going to have a lot of activities for the adults and for the children.
Okay.
And they say that the activities that they do for the children is worth the visit. So if
Cool.
come out on Monday and see that.
But I thought you said they were closed on Monday. Hello? I thought you said they were closed on Mondays.
Oh, they are. You're correct. They are normally closed on Monday, except for the one Monday a year that is Martin Luther King Day.
Okay. Okay, I got that.
You're
Okay.
correct. Now, the other one that we have is we have what they call Second Sundays. Now, Second Sundays is always the second Sunday, and we have special programs. And it just happens that this February 12th, we're going to be open and we're going to be celebrating Black History Month. So if you want to come out on that second Sunday, they're going to have a lot of activities. They're going to have ensembles. They're going to have performers. They're going to have panel discussions. So
what about artists? You gonna have any artists there? Visual artists?
yes, in fact, what happened was they were just talking about it at the museum the other day. But since I wasn't involved in this, I can't give you specific details.
Okay, but we can contact the NewYorkMuseum.org to find out.
Yes.
Okay, so now, anything else you want to share with us before we sign off?
No, that's it. And I'd like to thank you very much for having me on your program.
It's our pleasure, of course. You're always welcome to come back. I want to hear more about the museum since you recently returned, and I'm sure you can give us more information at a later time. So ladies and gentlemen, this is Bill Jordan here with Art with Bill. If you're a baker, candlestick maker, or a sculptor, this is the place you need to be. Why? Because people buy from people they know, all right? Telling your story is the best way to stay out in front of the crowd. And with that,